Hiya, freaks and ghouls, slashers and psychopaths, scaredy cats and scaredy dogs. I'm your horror host with the most, the Headless Glenn, and welcome to the Skeleton Cemetery, where we dig up the stats of horrific individuals and bury the misconceptions. Today we'll go over somewhat of a controversial topic, that being that canonical Eyeless Jack is complete fodder. Well, not complete fodder, but compared to other horror characters such as Jason Voorhees, even the reboot Jason Voorhees, who is significantly weaker than the canonical one. Eyeless Jack is just kinda shit. The character, I like the design, but strength-wise, he is not good. He is pretty bad. And by canonical, I mean I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Azel 5000, or the YouTube creator's name is Papa Pinche or some shit like that. But yeah, so we're gonna be going through all of his stuff to find out, well, for me to show you why he's complete fodder. His strength, he doesn't. Oh, fucking rigor mortis. Oh, 1 second. Fuck. Oh, shit. Fuck. Okay, I think I'm better. But his strength-wise, he doesn't have much. He only caused a large gash on Mitch's cheek the first night. And there's not much to that. It's a similar wound to, say, a knife or a blade. He created a large incision in Mitch's back to rip open it, to fucking get his kidney. That's what I was trying to say. Which is definitely him doing it physically and not with tools, because when Jack attacked Mitch later, I'm not sure if it was the same night, but when he attacked, it specifically states that Jack was trying to rip Mitch open to get his organs, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that confirms that the incision was most likely caused by Jack with, like, his hands or whatnot, which is very similar to if you've ever watched Deadliest Warrior and they had the episode about zombies and versus vampires. It's a very similar feat to what all the weight bodybuilders did to that mannequin when they were ripping open his organs. Fuck. But yeah, so it is something a peak human or athletic human could do, which isn't, like, it is, like, if Eyeless Jack was to attack me, he would rip my fucking ass open. But if he was in a fight, like, let's say not an NBA is basketball, the people who fight just like a normal fighter, he would probably get his ass whooped. Like if he were to fight Bruce Lee in his prime, Bruce Lee would kick his fucking ass. And the only other feat that Eyeless Jack has in strength is killing Edwin there is no real statement of how or what he used or how badly Edwin was dead. It just said his corpse was there, if I remember correctly. And that can be accomplished by just normal people. But fuck. I'm sorry, my rigor mortis is really acting up. I'm just like, my freaking vocal cords are shriveling up. It's fucking disgusting. But yeah, so Eyeless Jack basically has peak human strength at best. Or athletic human, if you want to just say he's complete shit, which I would probably go with peak human, which is also titled as street tier on things like the Versus Battle Wiki and other wikis like that. As for speed, he has almost nothing. He came into a window with a large thud, and then when Mitch shot up like that, Eyeless Jack was gone, hiding. This could either be a stealth feat or a speed feat, but it's debatable how fast he would have to be. After all, it is night. So I'd probably put it at least normal human, maybe athletic human if you want to be nice. But there's really not much to it. durability-wise, oh, fuck, it's pretty. Sorry, I just have to keep drinking my Count Chocula Moo Juice. It's the only thing that helps with it, that I found, anyway. But yeah, Mitch just kicks Eyeless Jack in the fucking face, and Eyeless Jack is stunned. I mean, that wouldn't happen to Jason, it wouldn't happen to Michael, it wouldn't happen to Freddy. Eyeless Jack just gets fucked. But you could say this is more of an anti-feat or something, because he's not really harmed by it, he's just stunned by it. But it's pretty showing of how bad Eyeless Jack is in a fight. But we won't cap him at that. We'll use Newton's third law, which says for each action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So, Eyeless Jack should scale to his attack potency, which would be peak human or street level, depending on what term you use. Because if he wasn't as strong if he wasn't as durable as he is strong, his arms would literally break by trying to do what he actually is doing. His fingers would shatter and all that shit. But that doesn't happen, so it's fine. He's most definitely peak human durability, most likely, but, you know, he does get stunned by getting kicked in the fucking face. Well, that's good. As for intelligence, it's actually one of his better qualities. You can argue his stealth is also part of his intelligence, but I don't know about that. But he does know how to take care of wounds that he has created, which means he likely has some medical knowledge, to a degree anyway. Because he does sew that bitch up, and it doesn't seem like Mitch is gonna die from it. So, there's that. I would probably say above average human, maybe gifted in terms of intelligence. If those terms I use are from the Versus Battle Wiki, I know a lot of people do not like Versus Battle Wiki given its problems with the higher scaling, such as like with the Marvel Universe, DC Universe, or Dragon Ball, and all that stuff that while I do find interesting, I really could care less about the scale. Well, actually, I do like the scaling, but I don't use Versus Battle Wiki for that shit. Versus Battle Wiki does have some ass problems. Not actual ass problems, but being ass. But that's for a later day. As for abilities Jack has, I've already went over Stealth Mastery, which isn't necessarily mastery because we don't see him use it that often, and he is actually pretty fucking loud. But you can argue that he has it. The most notable one is he has enhanced senses, because he's able to see without his fucking eyes. Kind of like I'm able to talk and see without my fucking head. But I blame the wood chipper for that. He was probably enchanted or some shit. But anyway, so he can see without those. I'm not sure if it's like he has better hearing or better smelling, but that's what he has. He can see without his eyes. He also possibly has pain inhibition. I've seen this argued in Death Battle Fanon works, such as Jason Voorhees versus Creepypasta characters. That actually is a pretty good story. I've read it multiple times. I don't really agree with the outcome 100%, because he does kind of lowball some characters. But then again, I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, it's talked back to the pain inhibition. It's kind of inferred that Mitch never felt any of the shit Jack actually did to him, which is very fucking weird. It's not like Jack was carrying anything. Well, you could argue he's carrying some needle and thread because he did stitch up Mitch. But you don't see him like carrying any anesthetic like things. So it could just be an ability he has. And that would lead credence to him being more of a monster. Fuck! Dying. Wait, I'm already dead. That is pretty fucking weird. But, yeah. So he probably has pain inhibition, which isn't that great, but if you couple that with stealth, he could literally be ripping your organs out your back. Like that actually happens in the death battle between all the creepypastas version Jason Voorhees, which could be actually pretty interesting. Like, say, Eyeless Jack were to sneak up on reboot Jason Voorhees. Which actually, I'm not sure if it would even work, because Jason did regenerate from his brain. Like, his brain did regenerate in that movie at the end. So I guess we'll go with the original Miner from My Bloody Valentine. Say Eyeless Jack were to sneak up on him and start ripping out his organs from his back. He wouldn't feel it. He'd probably, assuming that he doesn't feel any tugging or whatnot, he would literally just die before he even knew it, which is actually pretty interesting. So he has an interesting power, that's about it. Eyeless Jack is pretty fodder, though, compared to characters like even the Miner, especially the Miner from the reboot, because he tanks this huge explosion. And then people like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, even people like Chucky could probably beat Jack, at least with enough time and prep. Actually, I don't know, but I know, like, reboot Leprechaun from the WWE version could probably wreck Jack shit. I know a lot of people don't like that fucking gremlin leprechauns, but they would totally wreck. They're basically a better Eyeless Jack, honestly. They have enhanced senses, they're pretty stealthy, they're faster, they're stronger. Fuck. But yeah, Jack really isn't that strong in terms of horror characters, or even creepypasta characters. But with all that said, I guess I've finished this video. I know other people will be like, what about the origin of Eyeless Jack version? Because a lot of people like bringing up that story whenever they talk about Eyeless Jack. I personally am not a huge fan of that story because it just makes Eyeless Jack another teenager with a hoodie. But then again, I can see why some people might like that. That story doesn't even give too many good feats to my knowledge, so he's still not that great, but he would be better with that story if you include that as quote-unquote canon. But with all that said, stay frosty. Thanks for listening.